So we shall begin with the ladies, I think. We shall begin with Vanessa, then we'll have Jean-Marie, the doctor. Then we shall come to you, the gastronomy. Because I think if he starts talking now, he's going to make us salivate because he's going to mention food terms and all that. So it's better it comes at the end. In case we get hungry, we are closer to going home.
Yes.
So.
Good evening. Bonsoir. My name is Vanessa Ishimwe. I am an entrepreneur. I am a founder and I run Daily Enterprises, which is a company that is focusing on luxurious bridal line. We make bridal garments that we sell on local markets and international markets. I'm a Francophone and proud. I speak French since my first day at school. I've been studying in French all the years I started. And working and living in an Anglophone country as Uganda has helped me so much to do my business, to build my brand as a Francophone, because in the industry I'm in, fashion, it's very important to know French. France is a leading country in the fashion industry. Whether you speak French or not, you find yourself using French terms, vocabularies, and when you are already a French speaker, it helps you to learn quicker, to communicate, and be able to show your work on international scenes. So for me, our company, we sell on international markets, and it's very important that we have French speakers in our team because we ship worldwide. And our customers who are brides, you know, brides want attention, you have to have conversations, they have to be comfortable in the language they use. So since we have many Francophone countries that we target, it's very easy for me to be able to serve on a distance and also ship and be able to do business internationally. It has helped me so much in terms also of marketing, being able to create many Uganda products and be able to sell them in Francophone countries. So it has helped me so much to be able to do marketing of our products in an Anglophone country and be able to do made in Uganda products and sell them internationally. It has also helped me to, in terms of international relations, to apply for opportunities outside Uganda, to learn and be able also to exhibit our work on international scene, because France and French is very important in fashion industry, as I said earlier. So it has really helped me to grow in my work and be able to also share our work worldwide. You have chances to grow, but it will be a bit slow and a bit challenging if you have no knowledge at all. Because if you speak French already, you understand easily some terms. And also, I have to say, as I said earlier, that France is a leading country. There's so many French brands who are really leading in the fashion industry. So when you can easily understand the work, what they do, and be inspired, it's very easy for you to grow in that industry.
Yes, I think so. And then
yeah, it's very important. When you are a French speaker, and in the more than a month, it's very important and helpful. It helps you to learn to be able to express yourself. Also, French have a very interesting sense of style. So when you can easily understand, it's so important in the fashion industry. You can easily grow internationally
so that they can communicate, you know? So if you can go there and you are a translator within this environment, it would be perfect. On top of your qualifications, now for me, I work in health. I'll be able to talk about, for instance, child health. You know, they have children who are malnourished, who have diarrhea, they have typhoid, they have issues with sanitation. To be able to talk about all those things in terms of information, you need to bridge that gap, that language barrier. And what better way if you have a language that they know, you know, and understand. So I hope you're connecting the dots and seeing how you can really position yourself, you know, in certain places. Even I think you can go to those refugee camps and volunteer. If you can speak the language, ask what services that they need. You know, in your free time on a, I don't know, Saturday or weekend, you can drive to, I don't know, Nachivula? Nachivale. Yes, ask what services they need. I'm sure they need those people. They need more and more people who can communicate with the people on the ground. So, yes, I think that's
as she said, I'm a medical officer at Ruby Hospital. Can you hear me? I was saying, Dr. Thierry Shimirimana. I'm a medical officer at Ruby Hospital, and I'm a medical advisor to French Embassy in Uganda. I'm a Francophone.
Yeah.
I did my schools in French from primary to university. I studied at the University of Burundi, and I worked in Burundi in public hospitals and private hospitals, as well as in local NGOs. I joined Uganda in 2021 after meeting the owner of Ruby Hospital, who told me about the hospital, about its reputation in Uganda, and upgraded medical technology they have. Like they have a capacity of diagnostic center such as MRI scan, which is not everywhere. Then they have also partnerships with French companies. So I came in that purpose. Saying the impact of French in my field, I can start with myself. First of all, I got the opportunity of getting a new job because of French. Because the hospital had a partnership, and they got patients who speak French or who are comfortable when they are having healthcare professionals who can attend them in French. So I got a job in that way, and that was my dream from long, because I wanted to work in different countries. This is my second country, but I would like to be in many countries, and I think it will happen. Because now you see I can speak properly even English. Before it wasn't like this. So for the patients to have healthcare professionals who can attend in French, it's an added value, because they can express themselves. You know, when you are sick, it's better you express your emotions in the mother tongue. Because when you are struggling thinking about what you are going to tell a doctor, and the pain is much, so it is a struggle. So you need to express yourself in your mother tongue or a language that you have been able to speak and understand from long time. So my patients are comfortable. I have many patients now because I got even to meet some of staff of French embassy, staff of Total Energies. They have patients who speak French. Yes, they can speak even English, but you know about disease, the knowledge can go down, and you can remain with few of what you have, what you know properly. So the other opportunity I got from French is that after meeting all those personalities, I got a chance to be a medical advisor to French embassy. I know there are many doctors who were here, but before they didn't have a doctor who can refer them to specialists or who can write some medical reports if they want like to give a visa for a patient to travel for medical purpose. Now they have to come and I write for them medical reports. Also, we have these countries, nowadays we are getting many patients from DRC. They come with their medical report. For example, we can get a patient who have been with medical report, who have chronic disease. So it's up to a doctor who can read and interpret those medical reports, so that the management of the patient can be fast and easy, and also the referral of those patients to specialists. So that's all for the patient. And for the hospital, it is an added value because they offer a service which is not given for other hospitals are not giving. You know, hospitals who are who have a good reputation in Kampala, but when you go there, you ask a doctor or a nurse who can attend French-speaking patients, you can't find one. So it's an added value for the hospital. Also, when you are contacting the companies to in partnership with the hospital, it is easy because the patient will be comfortable when having someone to attend who can speak French. So I encourage everyone to learn French, especially in medical field, because I've seen that you can get many opportunities, and also to make our patients comfortable, because here in Kampala I have seen few people, even specialists or people don't learn French at school, so it's better you come to Alliance Française or any institute who can facilitate to learn French and be able to manage patients easily. And English, I mean, French is not only for doctors or nurses. You know, a patient before reaching the doctor, they pass from different steps. There are also what we call customer care. When a patient is coming at hospital, they don't just jump to a doctor, they must talk to the customer care, they must talk to the receptionist. There are some issues you have to handle as a manager at the hospital. So there are some issues which can happen, you have to handle. So, you know, you have to be able to speak those languages. So it's not about, it's about every person who is willing to work in medical field to learn French. So I I thank Alliance Française for inviting me for this conference. That was my contribution.
Thank you so much.
The sports industry is just quite big, and it's bigger when you step out of Uganda. In Uganda, probably the industry is not that big, and when you start to make steps to move out of Uganda, you begin to interact with people from different backgrounds, and probably there is no sector that attracts nearly everyone from different corners of the world like sports. Case in point, you can take a look at the numbers of the people who watch the World Cup final, for example, where France lost to Argentina. Nearly a billion people were watching. Usually the world is not built to that size of numbers. So in my career, I think ever since I made it a priority to, travel around the world and be at major or global sports championships, I interact with several people, the first officials, to the sportsmen themselves, and then three, you've got to add the different people in the countries where you go, and you find people from different cultures or backgrounds. So the way the Congolese behave is not the same way the Moroccans will behave. It's not the same way the French people behave, or the Americans, or anywhere you go. And to cover a story, you need to communicate. You need to interact with people. You need to speak to an athlete. You need to speak to an official. Sometimes even fans. Some fans know more detail than the athletes from different countries that you're going to meet. And I think one of the things that now comes to my mind is, as soon as you get to Entebbe Airport and your passport is stamped, the first thing you've got to think of is polish your French. Because one, you don't know the first person you're going to sit next to on the plane. Two, at the transit airport, normally you'll find all the most common languages are being used. French, English. If you're in the MENA region, which is the Middle East or North Africa, Arabic is equally added. So you have to speak either French or English, and you don't know what language people are using. So just from my motherland to the stadium where an event is happening, be it a basketball court or swimming pool, name it, sometimes there are multiple events happening, like the Olympic Games which are coming up in Paris next year. You have to speak French. And if I could give just a few examples, I think I used French the most when I traveled to West Africa for the 2017 Africa Cup of Nations. I think this was the first time Uganda was competing since 1978. So we get there, and then Uganda was not actually playing its matches in the capital city. So imagine you land into Libreville, and the team is not playing in Kampala, but it's probably playing somewhere in Kabale. So we had to connect to a city called Pointe-Gentil, and this is in the south. So we get there, and then I had a few colleagues of mine who were Ugandans, and then language became a problem. So you have to bargain for food, because unlike here where there's a lot of food, there's a lot of poisson, which is fish. So you have to bargain for fish. You have to either choose whether you want to eat fish or chicken. So even outside the stadium, you're interacting with people. When you get into the stadium, there are stewards that you have to interact with. They're going to read numbers of where you're meant to be seated. When you get to the press conferences, you interact with some athletes who are coming from different countries. And this is what I was going through all through Gabon. Some other countries are forgiving, some other championships are forgiving, but still, for me, French is a very powerful language, because I think nearly a third of the world speaks French. If you match Africa and Europe, and you're speaking French, you're going to sail through. In the Americas, it will be English, maybe a bit of Portuguese and Spanish in South America. But for the greater part of the world, you find French is being used. And then the other thing that I noticed with language is Sometimes it can be a turn-off for those who don't know the language. And then there are athletes who are celebrities. So I'll give you an example. I don't know if you all know Caster Semenya from South Africa. She was a middle distance runner and she's since done to go to long distance. We were at the 2018 Africa Senior Athletics Championships in a city called Asaba in Nigeria. And she was basically beating almost everyone and winning races. But because Nigeria is so close to very many French-speaking countries in West Africa, there were several journalists that had flown in. And whenever Semenya would choose to give an interview, she would speak the English that she knows and then walk away. And then you'd get to some other athletes like Hughes Zambo. I think he's a triple jumper from Burkina Faso. He's one of the medalists recently from that country. At the World Championships in Doha in Qatar, he would simply come, give his interviews in French, because probably there's France 24 interviewing him. And then the guys from say, Sky Sports are not speaking to him just because of language. So if you're interested, you just stand there and pick anything that you can, and you have something extra compared to an individual who only knows English. So I've encountered so many of those incidences, even at small championships like the recent World Under-20 Championships of Athletics in Nairobi 2 years ago. There's a very young star, an upcoming 100-meter, 10-meter hurdler called, the name has just run off my head, I hope I can recall. Sasha Zoya, you can Google him. I think he's going to break all world records. He's from France, but I think the father is from Zimbabwe. He's grown up in Australia and then lives in France. So that's how he's representing France. Most of the time I was speaking French. So you're not interested in speaking to the next big star, because sometimes we see them there and then boom, the guy is the next big board. If you cannot speak French, you're not going to interact with them. Some other people like Sadio Mane, the press conference room is filled with journalists from Senegal. Mane was speaking French. He won't care about you guys who speak English. And the media manager for the Senegalese national team will say, no, he's done, he's finished. Because Mane is tired, he's from the game, he's playing 90 minutes. And I just recall the same happening with teams like Egypt. I think they used to have the longest press conferences around 2017 at the Africa Cup of Nations. Their press conferences would last for 2 hours because of language. The coach speaks Spanish, now it is translated to French, it is then translated to Arabic, and then you guys who are consuming English, you're the last guys. So the press conference takes 4 languages. The coach speaks in Spanish, it's moved to French, and then because you're in Gabon, and then it's moved to Arabic for the Egyptian journalists, and then you come last from the English-speaking countries. And they're usually not forgiving. Sometimes here you get some translators and things of the kind. In French-speaking countries, they'll assume that you probably know it all. And probably because of the cultures of the French and the English, they've translated into where the countries behave and things of the kind. So for me, language, as soon as I know I'm traveling, you begin to polish your French, because somewhere, somehow, you'll either bargain at a supermarket, or you'll ask for directions at a shopping mall, at an airport, or you're boarding a bus and you want to be sure that you're going to the correct stadium. There are hundreds of buses from the same hotel going to different venues. So do you want to watch Uganda, Gabon, or you want to end up in a different city watching a different game? You end up using the language. So for me, French, as soon as I step out of Uganda, it's unfortunate there are very few people in the country here that you can speak with, but I'm being privileged to make a few friends, including some from West African countries that speak French. So when he greets me, bonjour Darren, I reply, good evening. You know, such that he's able to practice in English, I'm able to practice in French, but still it's on a low scale. So by the time I completed high school, when I had a lot of vocabulary, now probably I'm at beginner level because I don't practice it. But for me, it's a very powerful language. Thank you. Serious. I have to recall my words quickly. So of course there are simple words like Ostad, stadium. L'équipe, the team. I think the nickname for France as well, France national football team. I would take one position on the football pitch. The gardien de but. Go.
Impressive. I'm going to Right. Thank you so much. So we'll have the chef who will speak last. So the reason why I wanted him to speak last because he's going to talk about food and gastronomy. I love food myself, so yeah. I'm imagining when he starts talking about all those terms we are going through. We need to put that closer to the departure time so that it goes straight home and eat, right?
Thank you so much. My name is Robert Kaiwa. I'll agree with you. I love food. I don't know if any of you could go hungry if you don't love food. I don't know. Before I learned French, when I was at school, learning my culinary skills and all that, all the terms are in French. And if you don't know French, you wouldn't know. So the instructor tells you, do the mise en place, you just do the mise en place. So if the instructor is not also French, he will tell you that, and he doesn't know what he's telling you. But he tells you, do the mise en place, because the gastronomy is in French and everything. That is why I fell in love with French. When you go reading into, I don't know if you've read recipe books, but wherever you go, you see those funny words, bukigani and all that, and you don't know, you think it's in English, yet it's in French. So that is where I really fell in love with the French and their food. Wow, you better try it. I don't know if you've ever tried the French dishes. Have you? Huh? No? Yes? When you move everywhere, you find poisson, you find pao chocolat, whatsoever. We don't know. For us, we just give me croissants, give me croissants. Not so. That's what we do. But it's actually in French. Now, I work for a certain minister. I won't disclose the name. And that is how, before I went to France, then I'm an instructor at the culinary school in Uganda. It teaches culinary schools, cooking, and each and everything. You better check it out and see. Now, when I was in France, before I knew French, gastronomy, I wouldn't speak any word apart from the bonjour, je m'appelle this and that. But I realized that gastronomy, food, brings everyone together. You agree with me? Whether you speak the language, whether you don't speak the language, food brings us together. So I wouldn't speak, I would find people from Mali, people from Guinea-Bissau. I from Uganda, you find a Chinese, you find someone from Thailand. When it comes to food, we all gather. And you speak without even knowing. That is the power of gastronomy. Trust me, when you make good food in your home, visitors will always come. Every Sunday, like I'm going to someone's place because you make good food. We all make good food, I do believe, but the French cuisine, oh my God, it is something different, something very, very different. So that is why I fell in love with gastronomy, each and everything. Usually we know chefs from America, England. We all know Gordon Ramsay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He cooks. But trust me, when he speaks, there are French words he speaks when he's cooking. If you follow him up well. Not so. or you don't, you just wait for the food and then when is this serving? When is this serving?
Exactly. I think we just wait for the food.
But when you follow and follow well, you realize that he puts up some words, you know, in French. So it has helped me a lot standing out, because many chefs in Uganda do not speak French. So we go to Sheraton, they just, you know, you ask them what is it that you're really doing, and they're like, no, I'm just putting the Kigani, what does it mean? They're like, you know, those whatever, those ones, I don't know the word also. You understand? But when you learn French, if you love food, you will get to know each and everything. That I learned that the skills, each and everything rotates around French. It really rotates around French. That is where I really fell in love.
Yes, and actually, I remember you before you traveled to France, before you participated in the competition and won, and after, like the before and after.
Yeah.
So I think I can attest to find that French has actually been very helpful in your career.
Yes.
So a standard person, let's say a young person who's looking to join the culinary arts, for example, do you think French would be relevant to them in terms of, because we talked about the food, yes, but in terms of work, in terms of work, yes.
Yes, in terms of work, yes. Because for you to be skilled enough, you have to first understand what they told you. Now it is helping you from the foundation that if I say, okay, when we talk about the sauces and what, you know, you have to get them right for you to upgrade. If you don't, most people don't make it. The list of students that we have, like around 500, but you find like 20% out there doing that. Where is the 80%? They fail to get these things. Like, I can't really understand what Kigani is. I don't know what this is. So it is very helpful. Even from school to work and whatever, you stand out, you really stand out. I've been to different hotels and restaurants, so you find chefs out there and you ask them, what is it that you're doing? Okay, I'm making bechamel, what is bechamel? And they really don't know what they're talking about. So you stand out, which means you have the highest chance, for example, maybe at the French embassy or here or anywhere, because you have that in your CV. If you can do French dishes, Italian dishes, and all cuisines, Italian, Indian, Chinese, they all follow the French.
Yes, and you talked about the sauces. What are the 4 basic sauces?
The 4 basic sauces, there's bechamel, there's Espanol, there's tomato sauce, the one we call pomodoro, something that is in Italian, and then
I didn't sauce Hollandaise. I was waiting to chip in.
Okay, you know, I don't know, but Hollandaise is it's like a sister sauce. You know, there are mother sauces, and then there are sister sauces, and then there are brother and mother. And so we derive.
You're poking us right now.
No. For example, if there's any French out there, when I talk about the bechamel, you talk about the Monet sauce, you talk about the cheese sauce, they're all derived from the bechamel sauce.
Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
I don't believe the French out there understand what I'm saying.
So, thank you so much. So, are you going to teach us at least 2 words apart from the ones that
Yeah. Flambe. Most people see, you know, fire in the, and they're like, wow, that's so nice. That's called flambe. It's actually, you set French people use a lot of alcohol, wines, or rums. So when they set that on fire, it's called flambe. It is to reduce the alcohol content in what you're cooking. It's called flambe. And then there's mijoter, is to simmer in English. to simmer. The French love those dishes that cook for a long time. For example, pot-au-feu. For example, boeuf bourguignon. For example, bouillabaisse. They take a long time to cook. So the chef tells you, mijoter is to simmer, is to reduce low heat, and then it cooks properly. Muluganda tukuita okuboobeza. Yeah, that is how it is.
Thank you.
The legendary music label in the country produced some of the greatest artists this country has ever seen, namely GNL, Big Tree, and the rest. Okay? So I'm so happy to be invited today by my friend, Okot. Personally, my French is really terrible, but I love the theme for today, which is French as the language of employability. Darren has spoken about journalism, he's a doctor here as well, but I want to speak for creatives, which is the sector I come from. So our Ugandan creatives can really leverage on French as a language. How? I think what comes off my mind is three avenues. One is we are really struggling for a market to sell our products as creatives. We really think that Anglophone countries or Anglophone-speaking countries have not really provided us with bigger market to sell our products. So French being spoken by around 300 million people on 5 continents provides us with an alternative route to sell our products, sell our art, sell our music, sell our poetry, and so much. So with French, I believe our creatives can sell their music, their art to that 300 million people population and expand their range in terms of earning money, in terms of being seen, that's visibility, and also reach. The second way is our creatives, our musicians, so many different creatives can leverage on French as a language because I believe Francophone speaking countries do organize cultural events. This place also organizes events of such. So events of a sort. So I believe by them participating in such events, they are opening up even a wider market. So that pretty much expands more on my first point. But also thirdly, I believe that our art in Uganda, or our creatives, need to leverage on French for personal growth. I believe France as a country and Francophone speaking countries do organize a lot of film festivals, to organize art exhibitions, to organize so many events that push art and culture in their countries. So by our creatives participating in those things, participating in those events, they are opening up to bigger markets. They are being seen by a wider market, and they are earning more, right? Because we have to agree that some of those Francophone countries are bigger economies than we are. Some of them are actually selling their art to wider audiences than we are. So there are really so many, the opportunities are really limited when it comes to French and art. So I'm really happy to be here. And look.
I see at School of Languages, Literature and Communication, where at my constituency, most students offered French as a language. But they have been asking me questions where we are going to benefit from these electives we are doing. Where is French going to benefit us from? And I'm really glad that I'm here. From here, I'll take a report to them. I'll tell them their prayers have been answered. Because now I know where they'll be benefiting French. ONSA is an organization which leads all students in the country. Secondary schools, institutions in the whole country, and universities in the whole country. And I believe we embracing French is not that we are throwing away our Pan-Africanism culture or values, but that people who have the desire to learn the language should have the right to know where they're going to benefit from what they're studying. And I believe from today and onwards, we are going to cooperate with you to see how these students, how we are moving in these secondary schools, we'll tell those ones who have that dream, because out there's a student who's like, in a research campus, I'm going to offer French, or where can I have got many people asking me, if I want to learn French in Uganda, where should I go? I didn't know anything. But from today onwards, I believe I'll extend the message as we are also teaching our Pan-African values.